The Saiyan race, one of the strongest races in all of the universes. They're driven by their desire to fight, by their desire to get stronger. They're known as the conqueror of planets in Universe 7. They are mortals that gained the power of the gods. Though few in numbers, they gained the trust of everyone, and they proved their strength. They are the Saiyan race. But before all of that, before the Saiyans were eradicated by Frieza, before the Saiyans became few in numbers, before they became the dominant species, the conqueror of planets, let's go back to a time where Planet Vegeta wasn't Planet Vegeta, where the Saiyans weren't the only tribe on their planet. The origin of the Saiyans begins when Planet Vegeta wasn't called Planet Vegeta, where on that planet lived two tribes, one called the Saiyans and one called the Tuffles. Now the Tuffles weren't like the Saiyans. They were the ideal tribe, the tribe that was driven by technology, that was driven by their advances. They had the big cities, but not far away from those cities lived another tribe called the Saiyans. They were a basic tribe. They didn't have the advances. They were just vicious, though large in numbers and bigger bodies, but they were the dominant species on that planet. The Tuffles had the technology, the weapons. They had everything to hold the Saiyans in bay. But one night, the Saiyans decided that it was enough, decided that it was their time to take over the planet. And one night they struck the Tuffles with a surprise attack. The fight was vicious. The Tuffles held the Saiyans back, won a couple of battles. But one thing that happens every 8 years on that planet is the full moon, and the Saiyans had tails. So with the full moon, they transformed to their great ape form, which then they get the advantage in the battle. They were winning almost every fight, and they killed off every member of the Tuffle tribe on Planet Vegeta. But there's something to that story about the Saiyan god, about Yamushi. And the story says when some pure-hearted Saiyans saw the damage that the Saiyans did on that planet, they decided it's enough. They decided that they will rise above the bad deeds of the Saiyan race. And then the Saiyan god showed up, but he disappeared as fast as he showed because it was temporary, and the Saiyan god was lost. After the first battle with the Tuffles and the Saiyans winning, they didn't have the technology, they didn't have the brains that the Tuffles did. They wanted to travel to other planets, but they couldn't. So sometime after that, the Saiyans managed to make a rocket, and they traveled to a planet near Planet Vegeta. They met the Ecosians. The Saiyans had an issue. They needed technology and money. And the Ecosians had a different issue. They had the money, they had the technology, but they didn't have a planet. So a deal was made between them. The Saiyans will provide the Ecosians with a planet in exchange for technology and money. The Saiyans delivered on that promise, and they were given the technology. They were given the pods that traveled through planets, that Goku traveled to Earth. So they saw this as a business. They will take over a planet and sell it. They will kill all the inhabitants of that planet, and they started working that way. It was a profitable business. Sometime after that, they were working for Frieza because of how strong Frieza is. They were doing his deeds, but they also conquered planets as they used to. One day Frieza decided that it was enough, that he didn't want any more of the Saiyans. So he killed off almost all of the Saiyans and destroyed their home planet, Planet Vegeta. The only Saiyans that weren't killed at that moment were Nappa, Raditz, Vegeta, Goku, and Torbil. From that point on, the Saiyans changed who they were, changed the ways that they used to. They became pure-hearted, they became strong, they became a loving species. They're not driven anymore by how they used to. They are a changed race. So this was the origin of the Saiyans, from the point that they decided to take over their planet to the moment they lost their lives to Frieza. Saying that, I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.